What does enough look like for me in this season? And enough looks like alignment. And so, yes, I think there are action steps that you should take. I think there is a certain layer of, actually having things that you can count and quantify. But it's more about personal fulfillment. Am I doing enough of the right things? Because you could be doing the most, but doing the most of all of the wrong stuff is really going to keep you right where you are. So a lot of times when you feel like you're not doing enough, it's because you're not seeing the results that you want to see fast enough. But what I wasn't doing enough of was me. We're so busy putting in the quantity out here doing the most when we need to get back to doing ourselves. The best thing that you can do is you. And what I realized is that it's not that I wasn't doing enough, it's that I was doing the wrong things. Think about the word enough. It's really important to quantify what enough means to you. In this season, I'm unlearning everything that I've been taught to know to be true about everything. The path that I have been on is not in alignment with the life I really want for myself. Okay, so this one is for the millennial who feels like they just aren't doing enough. Let's go beneath the seams. Life can be so complex. The human experience is far more expansive than what we can see, and we spend so much time just trying to figure it out. We put on makeup, nice clothing, and we go out into the world trying to hold it all together. When beneath those seams, we are being ripped apart. Some of the ripping is self-inflicted, some of it is because of the pressure of society, but all of it is limiting. Limiting in our quest to just simply be who we truly are. We're more complex than we give ourselves credit for. We fill our brains with popular sayings like, oh, it ain't that serious, loosen up, or just live a little. But life in itself is a deep, non-surface level experience, and sometimes it can be pretty serious. So often we force ourselves to only exist at the surface, never allowing ourselves to be fully exposed. We let the layers pile up until the pressure becomes too much to bear, and then we rip. Sometimes into shreds, and a lot of the times in silence. Beneath means to go below the surface, and seams are what are supposed to keep us joined together. Because we are taught, no matter what, you just have to keep yourself together. We create this image, never letting people in, never going beneath the seams. I don't know if we ever get the answers we expect from life, but I'm starting to find peace in the process of just figuring it out. Instead of forcing the complexities of this human experience to be hidden, let's peel back the layers and go beneath them. Beneath the Seams, a love letter to millennials who are just trying to figure it out. Beneath the Seams, the podcast, now available on all platforms. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Seams. I am your host, Kayla Riggins, and I'm so happy that you are here. This is the safe seat. This is the scene seat. This is the space where we peel back the layers and we get personal. I get all up in y'all business, okay? I let y'all into my business. And we really just talk about the things that people don't be wanting to talk about. We use this space to say what's on our mind, those things that we're thinking, but we're never really comfortable to say. And the whole point is that we have a more authentic human experience. We want to just be ourselves. We want to be better, have better relationships, better social interactions. And I personally believe that most of what we're going through, we can better process it and find peace by simply talking about it. And so that's what these conversations are all about. So thank you for being here with me as I run my mouth about what's going on in my life. And thank you for sharing about what's going on with yours, because this is definitely a community where we are in it together. Okay? So I'm happy you here, girl. Come on in. Get comfortable. So I have been very candid with y'all before about how I am hard on myself. I can be my biggest fan, but I could also be my biggest hater. Sometimes people have to say, Satan, get behind me. Sometimes I got to be like, Kayla, get behind me. It's me. I'm the problem. Am I the drama? Yes. Sometimes I am. And so I told y'all I have been in a season of really submitting to self. For the next half of this year, I want to really submit to myself. And that means the desires of my heart, the relationships that I want to manifest, the relationships that I want to be better, platonically, romantically, friendships, all of that. I want to be better in my spiritual relationship. I want to treat myself better. I want to be better with my negative self-talk. Like, I am submitting to self, fully going after what I want in my heart. And in that process, of course, you consistently start to think, well, am I doing enough? There's a lot of discourse online about becoming her, being delusional, and really showing up as the person that you already see yourself as in your head, in your vision, in your ultimate goal for yourself. And so when I think about becoming her, thoughts started to enter my mind about, am I really doing enough? In a previous episode, I titled it, Are We in Denial About Who We Really Want to Be? And that one was all about me coming back to the realization that the path that I have been on is not in alignment with the life I really want for myself. And that's talking about career-wise. I found myself focusing really, really hard on running a business that was not in complete alignment with what I want in terms of my life and the way I see myself and my brand. And so one of the things that I'm doing is I'm fully talking about it. I was co-working with my line sisters the other day, and so often we lead with what it is that we do instead of what we want to do. And I think we should own that more when we're introducing ourselves, when we're meeting new people. We should really lead with what we want to do and what we see for our vision in our future. And so when I started to unpack, like, okay, am I doing enough in my head? Immediately I start to think, because y'all know in this season, I'm unlearning everything that I've been taught to know to be true about everything. And I'm really getting back to my own opinions, or forming them, not even getting back to them, but developing my own opinions and my own worldview outside of anything that I was taught or the way that I was raised. And so I started to have these feelings. It's like, okay, I have this new clarity around, I'm going to really go after her. Like, I'm going to really be who I want to be. And I'm going to give real commitment like I've never done before towards that goal. And so immediately you psych yourself out and you're like, all right, I didn't commit to it, but how much work is that? How much do I have to do to get there? And so when you think about the word enough, it's really important to quantify what enough means to you. So when I started to think about it myself, I'm like, well, am I doing enough? And what I realized is that it's not that I wasn't doing enough. It's that I was doing the wrong things. So a lot of times we are putting in effort. We're really putting in that quantity, right? And we're doing things over and over and over again to say, oh, well, I did it, for the past 3 months, 6 months, a year. But if the quality in that quantity is not aligned with who you ultimately want to be, then it doesn't really benefit you. And that's the process that I'm in. I'm making sure that I am doing enough of the right things. I think so often we want to check things off the list. It's like a productivity tracker, right? Where we're like, okay, well, I went to the gym 5 times, or, I posted 5 times this week. And that feels nice because it feels like progression, but it can really be limiting if you are checking things off the list for the sake of being done, but those things aren't really propelling you forward because they're not aligned with what you really want to do. So because I like putting y'all in my business, I don't know why I signed up for this, but I really want to use my voice as my gift, but also as my means of taking care of myself. And so I have been focused on helping other people build their things up at the expense of my own. So I realized that I had started to tie my value to that, and the quality of the effort that I was putting in was misaligned. So I started to constantly feel like I need to get more clients. I need to grow. I need to grow on social media, and I need to, have more lead generation. I need to send out more emails, just more, feeling like I wasn't doing enough. But what I wasn't doing enough of was me. We're so busy putting in the quantity out here doing the most when we need to get back to doing ourselves. The best thing that you can do is you. And that's what I'm realizing in this season. And so, hey girl, I know. You like, Kayla, what are you doing interrupting my episode? I know you had your snacks and you was all in it, but hear me out. After this episode is over, I don't want the conversation to end here. So I want to invite you. This is your exclusive invitation to be a part of my community because you are my people. And that's the name of my Patreon community, my people. So over there, you get access to exclusive content. We have monthly virtual dates where we connect and we have these real conversations. We keep the topics going. You get to have Q&A with me. You also get to meet and connect with each other. And pretty soon, some events are going to be happening too. So if this is your type of content, if you like deep conversations, if you want to create meaningful connections that really just help us be more of ourselves and be better to each other so that we can really experience the beauty that is life, I want you over there a part of my people because we see each other. Okay. So make sure you click that link, join my Patreon community, and I will see you over there. Listen, don't meet me there, beat me there. Okay. All right, go ahead, pick your snack back up, get back to the episode. The same effort that I was putting in, now that I have these new levels of clarity, I have to put that effort into me and into building my own dream. It's kind of like the conundrum of working in corporate and you start to feel a pull out of that, but you're still doing the most, making sure that you're doing enough to climb the corporate ladder. That was definitely me at one point. So now when it comes to my business, I realized that I've started to treat it kind of like that corporate structure as well, where I'm pouring so much into it, but I'm leaving me out of it. Ooh, now that was a bar. I was pouring so much into other things that I'm leaving me out of it, and I have to pour into myself. So when you think about what enough is, a lot of people start to, of course, compare. As much as I love the internet, and I think it's a great tool, I would be less than honest if I didn't say, I also think we can be very overexposed and we can have too much access to information sometimes. And I don't know that our brains were designed to process all of that. But since we're here and that's the life that we live, a lot of people start to compare whether or not they're doing enough to what they see people accomplishing or doing online. And I ain't gonna hold you. Those things happen. Y'all know I did a whole episode on this, but I have a very different idea of comparison. I don't think it always has to be a negative thing. But in speaking about the negative side of comparison, I do think that comparing whether or not you're doing enough, you're really doing yourself a disservice by doing that because you see people accomplishing things and it feels like they're doing so much. Like, oh my God, she posts every day. Or, oh my God, she constantly gets clients. Or, oh my God, she constantly has brand deals. Or, oh my God, this person stays with a new job or a new promotion. The thing about it is you really have no idea the time, resources, money, and everything else that a person is putting into their enough. So on the outside looking in, it's like, wow, she does not miss a beat. She's always showing up online, using content creation as an example, because that's the space that I'm in. But really, you have no idea if she has an assistant, if she has money to hire editors, like all of these resources that go into being able to do a lot, you may not have access to. And so that's why it's not smart to compare your enough to somebody else's. And so when you are defining this and really sit down and do it, because I had to define it, what does enough look like for me in this season? And enough looks like alignment. And so, yes, I think there are action steps that you should take. I think there is a certain layer of, actually having things that you can count and quantify. But it's more about personal fulfillment. Am I doing enough of the right things? Because you could be doing the most, but doing the most of all of the wrong stuff is really going to keep you right where you are. And so I am actively in my own brain, because y'all know I be in here with just me, talking to myself, going through it. And I'm actively in my own brain trying to redefine being satisfied with the effort that I am putting in. And what's helping me do that is finally putting the effort into the right things. So here are a few signs I want to share that maybe you can be aware of in your own life, because this is when it really became a red flag for me and I realized, oh shit, something's off. These were the signs of me knowing that I was misaligned in what I was doing, and it was being masked as you're not doing enough. Fatigue, consistent discontentment. Is discontentment a word? We're going to go with it today if it's not. But consistently being discontent, always fatigued, tired. Everything feels hard. Everything feels heavy. You're exhausted at the thought of things. That could be a sign that you are focused on the wrong things. Now, right and wrong is subjective. It ain't up to me to tell you what's right and what's wrong for you. This is my life and my salvation. Okay? You worry about churn. But what I know is wrong for me is to continue to live a life that is not in alignment with what I really want. And so in this season of submitting to self, it's painful because you gotta go after your dreams and you gotta go after your desires and your goals so aggressively that you become somebody else. The person that I am right now, I can't stay here. And that's scary. Then you start to think about, what if it doesn't happen for me? Like, can we talk? Are we talking? That's my Whitney Williams voice. Can we talk? Like, sometimes the thought does creep in. Is it too late for me? Can this really happen for me? And I'm constantly at a mental battle with pushing past those thoughts. And so some of the things that I have been doing, I have just made a strong decision that I'm going to at least try. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it anyway, because I don't want to be 80 when my red puff then turned into a gray puff. I don't want to be 80 sitting in my rocking chair, sipping on some coffee early one morning and have regrets about the things that I didn't go after. And so it's incredibly hard, but I am figuring out how to find softness in these hardships. And I talked about that on a previous episode as well. And hard just means going against the grain for me. Like, it's hard to do what's not traditional. It's hard to do anything outside of what everybody else is doing. It's hard to view yourself as different, as special. Like, to go after what you really want is hard because it's very easy to just blend in and be average. And that's no shade to anybody. But it's very, very easy to just do what is expected. And so when you have a desire to do a little more and have a little more, there is a certain level of mental conflict that comes up because you're fighting against your inner self. What you've been taught, what you've been told to do, how you know to be successful is now being dismantled because there's a part of you that knows that there is more for you and you're actively trying to tap into that. And that can be an excruciating experience. Okay. I be over here in a lot of pain, not physically, but metaphorically. Sometimes it could really be a mind FUCK. Okay. Another thing that has helped me in this process is getting clear on the progress that I have made. So a lot of times when you feel like you're not doing enough, it's because you're not seeing the results that you want to see fast enough. And so when you feel like things aren't happening for you, I need you to stop and define what happening looks like. That's why it's so important to have those goals and write things out. And so I found myself, and I hate to feel like this because sometimes I feel really ungrateful because God is so good to me. Like, y'all have no idea how good God is to me. And so sometimes I feel ungrateful, but I told y'all, my friend Marley says, stop assigning right and wrong to life's experiences. Sometimes things just are. And so I can be grateful and appreciative and still have human feelings around my circumstances. And so when I think about defining what does happening look like things just aren't happening for me when there is evidence of things happening. Like, I am further along than I was this time last year or than I was 6 months ago. And so for you, define what happening looks like. When you look back at your goals and you look at those action steps and you are trying to hit a target, if you are not still at step 1, which means you've at least started, I'm willing to bet that things have happened for you that are in alignment with the desires of your heart. So I want you to not discount those things, because that's how we get in the spirit of ungratefulness. And that's how we start to not really see the beauty that is all around us, which is the fact that we are doing the work. So when you stop to like actually take note of what has happened around you that is in alignment, you'll probably notice that there are some things that you discounted because they weren't big enough. So when things don't look like the big vision that we see in our head, the final picture, we start to discount and reduce them as if they're not significant. When the small things, the insignificant, the seemingly insignificant things are the ones that really add up. And so I'm just trying to be in a season of being more aware of redefining what enough is for me. What does it mean to take steps towards that when I start to feel like, well, why isn't this happening? Just doing those gut checks and really centering myself around understanding that I am in the middle of the process. And it's not pretty all the time, but this is a part of the process. What I am doing, now that I'm clear, is a part of the process, and I'm on the path and trying to be grateful for that as I continuously work towards making sure that I don't stay in denial about who I want to be and I become her. So each episode I like to be reflective and talk about things. I like to just mention something that I am enjoying about life right now. It's just a good practice to do in the midst of everything that's going on, be it good or bad, is to highlight something that you are enjoying. And I turned 33 earlier this year in March. And I was telling a friend just yesterday, my line sister, I was telling her that, 33 was a very transformative year for Jesus. And I ain't trying to die. I ain't ready for that. I don't want that type of transformation, Lord. Okay. You hear me? All right. We ain't ready for that. But the thing about Jesus dying at 33, he came back, right? In the form of a resurrection. And in a lot of ways, I feel like my Jesus year is a resurrection for me. I feel like I have been dead, metaphorically speaking, spiritually, confidently, going after what it is that I truly want in life. Those parts of me had laid down to die for a while. And I was out of alignment and focused on the wrong things. I wasn't doing enough of the right things. And now that I have this new clarity, I really feel like this is my resurrection. So I never knew before what it meant to have a Jesus year and what people meant by that. Like I knew it was a thing because he died when he was 33. I don't even know if the Jesus year has much meaning beyond whatever it means for people individually. But for me, in the 3 months that I've been 33, March, April, May, June, July, 4 months that I've been 33, it definitely is a resurrection for me. Like I'm coming back to myself and coming back to owning what I really want. And that is what I'm enjoying about life right now, is my own personal awakening and resurrection of getting back to, in some ways, and then becoming in other ways who I really am and who I ultimately want to be. And that feels good. It's, it comes with its things, but overall it feels good. So that is what I am enjoying about life right now. So what about you? Let me know down in the comments, what are you enjoying the most about life right now? So this is the part of the show where we usually go beneath the comments, but the comments have been in shambles because that last, I think it was a few weeks now ago, that video about me being okay with not being somebody's wife or mother has definitely been flooding in terms of the comments. Y'all got some opinions. So instead of going beneath the comments, if you are new to this episode, that is where we get to talk back and talk with each other down in the comments. I'll read your comments live on the podcast, answer your questions. I ask for show suggestions and all of those things. Instead of going beneath the comments this week, I want you guys, because you're my people, to meet me over in Patreon. And so what I want to do inside of the Patreon community is I want to have an opportunity for people to actually have the dialogue with me in real time. So instead of going beneath the comments where I read your comment, we're actually able to go back and forth. And so I want to be able to do that over on Patreon. And then I also want to be able to have some of you live in real time as we're talking about these things, go beneath the comments in real time where you're able to put your opinion in, tell me how you feeling, what you're thinking about what today's topic is in real time. And so we'll figure out what that looks like logistically. But essentially it will be you guys, my community, my people, being a guest on the podcast for that segment and being able to have those conversations and that dialogue with me in real time. So I'm excited about that. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Who am I to build a Patreon community already? I don't know. Her. I'm her. When you think about building communities, you think about people with large followings and large communities. And I do not have that yet. But guess what? In the spirit of walking it like I talk it, I said what I said and really going after what I want. I'm going to start building my Patreon community now. We have just under 3,000 subscribers. So who's to say who's going to join? Who knows? I don't know. But I'm not going to wait for the moment or the standard that was set about when you should start that. I'm going to start it right now because it is in alignment with what I want to do. So again, being focused on doing enough of the right things. And I know that having a community be a part of this space and the pod and these conversations, it is in alignment with what I want to do. So I'm doing it. All right. So instead of going beneath the comments, meet me over there in the Patreon. And we're going to keep the conversation going over there. All right, y'all. That will do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being in conversation with me. We have been talking a lot about healing and growing and self-development. And I've seen a couple of requests for some other episodes. So I promise you that they are coming. We got to talk about overthinking. We got to revisit the friendships episodes. And I think I might do a response episode to the I'm okay with not being somebody's wife or mother. Let me know in the comments if y'all think that's a good idea for me to do a response episode to that, because I got some things to say. I got some follow-up. Okay. But in the meantime, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. It helps me in more ways than you may realize. If you on YouTube, share it with somebody. You're getting the visual. Okay. Let me know if you like the visual. Leave me a comment. And yeah, I just look forward to continuing to grow with you guys as we figure this out together. So listen, no matter where you are in your journey, if you feel like you aren't doing enough, or maybe you feel like you got it all figured out, whatever it is, my wish for you, my hope for you, my prayer for you is that you simply find peace in the process of just figuring it out. All right, y'all. I will see you next time. Bye.